There's so much that goes into the community and the leaders that we all get to work with. We've got an expert here who talks about it and really has a heartfelt for our community and making a difference. Stay tuned for this one, everybody.
People are miserable. I don't get it.
Why would people be? We're talking a little bit on camera here. We're getting ready for this is show number 2. Mark, some people choose to be upset and miserable. Why would you choose to be? Happiness is a choice. You're going to look at the. You've heard this one. Is the glass half empty or is the glass half full? So many people look at a glass and are like, "Oh, I can't believe the glass isn't 100% full." I don't know if the glass is ever 100% full.
Never, believe you me. Oh, well, we've talked about this. I think we have similar personalities. You know, I'd rather, like we were talking about I'm involved in the golf tournament at Norwood Hills, Stiefel, and just up there and meeting all of the people. And we've had so many people that come up to us and, oh my God, you're always so happy. I said, I'm not always this happy. But when you're around people and you're around golfing and you're around people, you know, and that's a very good charity event. And we do a lot of good for the community and that thing too. Plus it's good for the course. So everybody go see the Stiefel Charity Classic. But yeah, it's a great tournament. But yeah, you just meet so many people and, you know, and we get that all the time. You know, you just make everybody happy when you're around. I'm like, not really.
Well, it's that positive approach. So going through what I went through, suffering from a coma, and like
that's a crazy story.
Could have been a victim the rest of my life, and I just decided that was not fun. I went that path for a little while, like mad at the world, and why did this happen? And well, it shouldn't have happened to me, and it ended my baseball career. And we'll get into some baseball discussion. But this guy, hey, he was a lefty, bringing it in
no, come on, 80s, high school phenom. But no, and you know, for somebody like you, Carter, and you don't understand what you do for people. You know, when you're at the baseball games and people see you and everybody's excited to see you because you always have a smile on your face, and that changes the community. People don't understand that sort of thing, and you're very recognizable in that, and look fantastic.
Thank you. Yes. Some people look good in a cowboy hat. I'm trying to figure it out. But
I'm not one of them.
But I recall most recently we were at the Blues game.
Yeah.
And I kept looking back at you. I said, I know this guy from somewhere. And we connected. We talked. We used to run around the different clubs and fun stuff in St. Louis. But wherever you were at, you always bring that positive, friendly approach. And maybe I'm
going to come here every day. I like getting my tires pumped.
Right, but I mean, literally, like, why isn't life that way for everybody? The question we're supposed to get into is, tell me the big mistake that.
Are we still in roofing? Roofing's boring. This would be a better show, just you and I talking.
Well, I tell you, might be helping more people because literally, like, how often is it the case that we have everybody goes through something difficult.
Yeah.
Everybody goes through some situation that's tough.
Yeah.
But and my dad made this quote from my dad. It's not. What was it's not the error in whatever the situation, error related to baseball. It's how you respond to that error. And so many people, they get down and out, and then they never bounce back. And it's like, they were this close. If they just would have worked at it, they could have done it.
Well, you and I have that in common. We both have great parents. Well, we were just talking about this off air, about our mothers and fathers, and they're both are phenomenal people. But I mean, it's no different. If somebody has something that might be catastrophic, you know, especially this year with the tornadoes and, you know, some of the issues that people had with their homes, and, you know, hopefully we're coming in and try to make it a little bit easier. You know, we can at least get a tarp on. We're going to deal with the insurance companies. You know, we're going to do all this stuff, you know, without knowing we're going to get paid. And there's times where we haven't, you know, where insurance didn't pay, or, you know, we didn't get the job. But, you know, this year was a tough year for some people. Driving into that Central West End, coming into downtown, it was just, I mean, I had tears in my eyes seeing what had happened to, you know, so many of these people didn't have insurance, and it was such a sad situation going on, and dealing with FEMA is not easy either. If any of you people watching, I'm sure if you've dealt with them, it's a great service, but they're overwhelmed. I don't think they have the staff that they needed. So yeah, it was a tough year for a lot of people. So yes, if we can build them up, you and I, let's go on a crusade. Carter.
Well, get out there.
Carter and Mark.
Some of that
Mark Carter. Angie's brother's name is Mark Carter, so we could do that together.
We could trademark that. But I mean, how much of it? Life is just much easier when you go that way.
100%.
And
I agree.
Bring out the positive approach to everybody, and somebody like yourself. And you talk about. I'm getting off my normal path here, but how devastating were those? You were out there fixing these places, Central West End and in Chesterfield. There's a lot of damage caused. I remember getting the call. My mom I was down in spring training for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
And I called my mom, like, Mom, take your cell phone downstairs with you.
It's bad.
This is coming. You saw the damage.
We did. We were up in Florissant, and we went. I didn't realize it was that bad. We live in Fenton, and we were so stupid we didn't go downstairs, so we probably almost died. But we didn't get hit that bad. The next morning, I was actually talking to one of my guys, and he goes, "Yeah, the storm wasn't that bad." And I go, "What are you talking about? There's devastation everywhere." I just jumped in my vehicle and I drove up to Florissant, and I was shocked. Trees that's 6 foot in diameter had fallen down on people's houses, and people it was crazy. And then the next tornado that was down, that really hit the Central West End and in the city, that was even worse. So it's been a rough year, yeah, for sure.
Well, what's it like being a business owner that's in that space and people are calling on you and you got to go out there and service the community? It all comes back around, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You're probably doing a lot of work that you.
Yeah, it was one of these things where everybody's like, "Oh my God, you've got to be killing it," and it has been good, but it's been hard, because labor is short. In every industry, labor is short. It's hard to find people. On a normal year. Roofing, I've used the same roofing crew for years and years, and they're like family. You get outside of that, my gutter guys, same thing, great guys, but siding and soffit and fascia and then trying to do interior work and trying to do painting and drywall and that sort of thing, it was impossible. Now you take that, and the next thing is material. I deal with one of the biggest material companies in the country with Menards. Menards couldn't keep up. And then specialty siding, and then what was happening, and anybody that's in my industry will tell you this, insurance. So if the hail hits the front of your home, it might not have hit the other 3 sides. So they want to pay for maybe 2 sides. Maybe it hit on the one side. Well, now I've got to match up that siding, and I don't know if it's Dutch lap, if it's 4.5 inch. There's so many different versions of it. I didn't know there was 20 different colors of tan, or brown, and all these different colors, and and then everybody was out. So you're trying to deal with the material. So yeah, and then you're trying to get your money right, and it wasn't the easiest year. And like I said, nobody's crying for me because my receivables are good, but we still have a lot of receivables. But it's been a good year.
Well, these are the challenges that happen in our community, and
100%.
for leaders to step up, do so. And let's start saying, is it true? Would you agree that when these types of challenges come about, and you do step up, not because you're saying I'm going to make a bunch of money, but because you know that people need some help. But it comes back around on the back end, and people go, "Hey, that Mark guy, he was there for us."
You know what though? Even if they don't say that, you don't know how many times I get emotional when I talk about stuff like this. That I'll call somebody, I might call my mom, I might call my dad, I might call Angie, and say, "I can't believe what happened." These poor people, you'll go to somebody's house and it's just, they're devastated and they don't know what they're going to do. And we were able to help them. It's not even about the money at that point. The jobs like that, I'm sure people in my industry will say, you're not making the top dollar on those jobs, but it's worth it because you walk into a house and, you've got family members hugging you. But next thing you know, then you have 3 more family members calling you and you're getting their jobs and this and that. So like we said earlier, I don't know if we said it here, it might have been off air. I totally believe in karma. And when you do the right things for people, it will come back to you, whether it's financially or just making you feel good, which keeps a smile on my face.
That's right. Well, yeah, and all the money in the world, if you don't enjoy what you're doing, you're not feeling good about it.
Exactly right.
If you can't sleep at night, I sleep well at night. My parents have pretty much drilled. I didn't have a choice. I was fortunate, like we talked about, good parents. But literally, I couldn't imagine. You've seen, and this doesn't happen too often, but people that take advantage or don't do the full spec for what they're capable of, or do the job completely. Well, and they're hurting themselves ultimately.
And you're somebody that's out in the community, and I think I am too. I don't ever want to be at a Cardinal game or at a Blues game or sitting at a bar worried that somebody might walk in the door and see me and go, "Oh my God, there's Mark. He screwed me over on a job." You're the same way, Carter. Everybody knows who you are. These are the Cardinal Cowboys here. And if you had done something wrong to somebody in business, you couldn't be out like you are. And I think that's especially, like we said, in this big, small city we live in.
Yeah. No, everybody knows everybody. And you better treat people the way you'd want to be treated, but also be aware of the fact that, word does spread, especially in a small town like this.
Exactly right.
We want to take care of each other. But you do residential, you also do commercial.
Yeah.
Give them kind of the split there.
I would love to do more commercial if anybody's watching. We do some, usually it's a friend of a friend type of situation. It's probably about a 90-10 at this point, residential versus commercial. I'd like to get it to at least 70-30, 60-40, but that's my fault. I mean, we haven't been out marketing like we probably should and could for that. You know, part of me is like, well, if the hail ever stopped falling, we could go out and start look for more business like that. But we stay busy either way.
Yeah, well, there's a need for both. And
Yeah.
Of the two, there's pluses and minuses for each. What do you like most about residential? What do you like about commercial?
This is going to sound really like a jerk. Residential's easy. I mean, because we do it so often. You know, I can get, if we were sitting here right now and I got a text from a customer, next time we take a commercial break, I could probably do an estimate for them. I could do it really quick. We've got estimating software that I can get it. I know how much my costs are. I'm very close off the top of my head always. With commercial, there's so many different variables. Generally you're dealing with a flat roof in a commercial situation. Flat roofs, there's so many different types of flat roofs. There's so many different installations. There's so many different installation ways of doing it. And I think we know how to do it. I get worried about pricing it properly. When you're pricing a residential job, I know worst case scenario, if this happens, my worst case scenario, this is how much it's going to cost me. Commercial, all of a sudden you're bidding a $500,000 job, and if I make a mistake on it, all of a sudden it's costing me $100,000. That's a little different situation.
Yeah, there's a little bit more at stake there, and you get into like downtime for the business and all of those related things that make it. But
exactly.
I enjoy working with small businesses, but I like the residential side of it. To me, is like where you really get to know the homeowner. You're dealing with somebody, this affects their life directly, and you can work with them directly and
correct.
make sure that they're happy.
And honestly, the residential jobs that we have are where I get the commercial jobs from every single time. Yeah. It'll be my business is looking for a quote on or our church is looking for a quote or this sort of thing. So that's where we always get the business from. So it all kinds of works out together.
Well, that's the way you do business on this little planet. Take care of those people who do so. Tell me a time, though. I can imagine by now you've got hundreds of stories like this, but a time when you felt you really helped a client that was in a tough situation. Was it during these tornadoes?
We did have I'll give you a good one that happened this year. We had a customer that got husband and wife were sitting on their couch watching TV on that Friday night, and a tree, he had gotten up and went into the kitchen, and a tree fell into their house, and at the last second he yelled to her and she jumped, and when I say it collapsed, the trusses were all broke, that everything was gone. So one of my friends lives in the subdivision. He said, Mark, you might want to come up and take a look. There's some business up here. So I went up there and I met with him. And when I walked in, being honest, my first thought is, this is not a job for me. It was more than what we would normally do. I called a friend of mine that does interior work and this and that. And he goes, Mark, I can be out there. This was on Saturday. He said, we met him on Sunday. He said, I'll start on Monday. Well, I said, well, we have to kind of take our time because insurance is involved in this. So I called, and State Farm's a wonderful company. Called State Farm. They said, just take a lot of photos. We're going to have somebody out there. But if you guys got to get it enclosed, let's get it enclosed. We went, we got everything enclosed very quickly. We got everything done within probably 20 or 30 days. At least it was enclosed and we had the roof up. We still had some work that needed to be done. Well, insurance didn't pay out for probably 90 days after that. Oh, wow. So, we did everything. We paid everything out of pocket. The customers were living in a hotel. We got all this stuff done. And that one, I think, was one of my favorites. At least I knew we had made a difference for these poor people in a bad situation.
Yeah, that's quite a bit of money to front because you've got...
That was a lot.
That was the normal roof, $15,000 or so, but you've got infrastructure.
The interior was, it was crazy.
And boy, the time you're talking about...
And let me tell you something, I didn't make any money on that job. We did okay, but not like I normally would. But yeah, those are the kind of jobs, though, that I really like because, like you said, you and I have a mortgage background. I know nothing about this. My dad could build something from scratch, but I never paid attention. He always tells me that. I didn't. I never knew how to do anything. So when I have jobs like that, I love being out there, figuring out what we're doing, how it works, this and that. So if I made zero on it, I learned so much from it that it was worth it. We made some, though.
That's the truth. A lot of times you have to go in there, learn these things,
Correct.
dedicate a little time. I talk about that. go to Mark's point there. Go in there and learn. Get in there, and then once you've developed the skills, and
well, nobody wants me building for them, though. You know that.
but you can be the GM.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're going to put a smile on
Thank you.
Face.
Exactly. I'll bring donuts.
Let's finish up here with this segment. Quick question, though, I have for you is a big challenge you've overcome. We talked about that in a little bit of our pregame prep, but you made a big shift. Is that where the biggest?
Well, I was just going to say that the absolute lack of knowledge coming into this. You know, my background is University of Minnesota, lived in Minneapolis, you know, traveled, ended up here, started my company in '97. I had only done mortgages. I'd only done lending, and that was it. And then all of a sudden, I don't have a career any longer. Coming into this, it was extremely intimidating. I'll never forget, we were building a roof, and my guys told me to go and get a vent. And I'm like, a vent? I said, all right. You know, I don't want to look like a complete idiot. So I remember this. I went into Home Depot, and I went in and I asked the guy, I said, I need a vent. And he says, well, what kind of vent? I go, is there more than one kind? And that's how it was. I mean, I knew nothing. I didn't know what kind of nails we use. I didn't know, you know, that were we using a cap nail, or are we using staples? Are we doing this? I knew nothing. I didn't know what an architectural shingle was versus a 3-tab. I knew nothing. So I remember customers would call me and they'd be asking me questions, and then they probably thought I was slow because I would be sitting on the internet trying to figure out YouTubing something to ask, because I didn't even know what their question meant. And I'd be writing it down, and, you know, as we go, I mean, I think I at least have a general knowledge of what I'm doing now, or I can fake it very well.
Well, you were rattling off some components there.
I just did that. I got notes on my hand.
He obviously knows what he's doing. Very successful. Got that A+. We talked about the great work he's done. We've got some pictures we can show you of some of the work he's done here too. And Mark's just a good guy. You know you're going to be able to count on to get the job done. We'll share with you a little bit more of the fun we have in the community. Stay tuned. We'll be back here in just a minute.
I agree, 100%.
Thank you for your service there. What do you love about the Cardinals?
What do I love about the Cardinals? Well, they're the best team in the country. You know, they got more fans. It's the greatest thing to come see. I don't care. I've been to New York games. I've been everywhere, and the Cardinals are number one in my opinion.
There's people around the country. I just started off on this little Cardinal Cowboy thing. It's gotten crazy. I got people from around the country like, Cowboy, I saw you here. Lots of great fans out there that have a lot of fun.
They're everywhere.
And the best looking fans in baseball too, right here.
Oh, yeah.
Father and son, you can see
Absolutely.
it right there. You never see your son and Brendan Donovan in the same place at the same time.
That's funny because we've had a lot of people say that about him.
You got to get that bandana hat. All right, everybody. Cardinal Cowboy outside patios.
His name is Carter Rethwich, but in St. Louis, he's known as the Cardinal Cowboy. He's a well-known fixture in the stands at sporting events in the Gateway City. He's one of its greatest cheerleaders, a super fan like no other. When he makes his rounds at almost every home game, he shares his love for sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Rethwich was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and 3 of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter suffered a critical head injury. The trauma put him in a coma for 6 days. The doctors said he was never expected to function again. Those expectations never came true. He fought back and finished college. He was determined to prove the doctors wrong. Among other inspirations, it was his love of baseball that kept him going. And from his near-death experience, the Cardinal Cowboy emerged. His goal in life became to inspire others with positivity despite the odds, to help people believe in themselves and achieve their dreams.
So after my coma, I realized that it was up to me if I was going to accomplish my goals, if I was going to reach my dreams. Despite what the naysayers would say, the people that were discouraging me, like they do everyone, it's up to me if I'm going to make it. Don't listen to the naysayers. It's up to you. You decide whether you're going to succeed, whether you're going to reach your goals. Dream, and then always, always chase your dreams. Never give up. Giddy up. Hey, we're looking for the small business owners and leaders in our community to be on our show. This is the Your Little Castle Show. We air 3 times a week, every week on ABC, and we would like to put somebody you know, or maybe it's you, who's a business owner, to be on our show. You'll sit right here in our guest chair, right here, sitting here talking to us. We're going to put on the wall your website and everything about you, and highlight you as a leader. Fill out the form you see here on our website. It's bigleagues.com, and if you go to bigleagues.com, fill out this form. Takes just a couple seconds, and you can even schedule yourself right here. Schedule yourself to be on the show, and there's no charge for us to record you. There's no charge to be in the studio. Check it out if you would like to be on. Fill out the form again, bigleagues.com. This is where we can turn any interview into a series of clips. Check that out. Go to bigleagues.com. Hey, like we say, we love to get to do the fun stuff in the community, and there's so many leaders that make a difference. And I happen to be sitting with one here in my studio here.
Who?
Mark and I go. We didn't realize how far we went back together, and just great stuff you do, and appreciate you. Just that positive energy, man. It just makes life so much more simple to be a.
Well, again, we have like minds.
I'm glad.
Because you're the same way. Who walks around dressed as the Cardinal Cowboy, and you're telling me that I bring smiles? I said, I think you got me on that one.
Well, I appreciate your support and the kind words, and lots more work to do. That's for sure.
I totally agree.
And with that, we talk about how media has changed the world. So if you're interested in learning a little bit about how to maintain and manage your media, magnetize your media, people drawn to you. There it is, everybody. Number one seller on Amazon. Yours truly wrote the foreword here. The Cardinal Cowboy. They said, Carter, you wrote the first chapter. I said, well, you guys, this is great information we need to share with people to help them understand how to get, because you can't do this stuff without it anymore. And Mark is already on the ball here. He's got a great looking website, and also how has technology changed in your space since you started doing this?
Well, you're asking a complete moron. Thank you for setting me up for that one. No, we need to do better. I mean, honestly, I'm one of these that swears off, I don't want to be on social media, I don't want to do these things, and you have to. I mean, you absolutely have to. I feel like I'm in the Stone Ages, because we haven't done a good job of this. We're right now, we're in process of doing some things to do a better job of that.
Well, and that's why I say you've done enough of it to make yourself, because you've got your BBB, you've got your rankings, people are fine, you got a website.
I'm our
but you feel,
social media.
Okay.
This is it. This is all we got.
But do you feel, has it changed though over the last 10 or 15 years? How much has it changed?
I mean, look at, just from our mortgage background, there was nothing. You'd have 99.99 selling mortgages on the radio, and now if you're not monetizing everything, everything you do, and I think you're good at it. Maybe I need some help from you, Carter. Why are you asking me?
Well, you keep building the roofs of the quality. I've seen your reputation and the work that you do, and that makes my work a lot easier. And so I've got some great tips. We're going to help Mark, and we're going to cut this whole interview up for him. We're going to get it on ABC, and we're going to show you. We're cutting the clips for you, and those clips are automated. They're already written for you. You just click publish, and they go to all your social media.
Awesome.
These are game changers for a lot of businesses. But
Carter knows what he's doing.
Thank you. The technology on the back end, though, as far as building roofs, there's been some big changes there too.
Well, I think what's happened is
water shield.
Well, and
drones. And
well, what's happened is, quite honestly, now I'm going to get on my soapbox a little bit. I think the state of Missouri needs to change the laws and what we're doing here in the state. There's no licensure. So when people we've talked about this. A customer will call and say, well, I need to see your license, or we'll get a mortgage company, I need your license and I need your bonding information. And I'll say, I have a license in Illinois. I have a bond in Illinois.
Right,
I have a general liability policy, even though I don't need one in Missouri, which is unbelievable. We have workman's comp for everybody that works for us, all these different things. There's no requirement. Why wouldn't the state of Missouri at least get, and I'm the last person on earth that's for bigger government, believe you me, anybody that knows me personally. But in this case, I don't understand why there isn't involvement, because it would eliminate some of these scams. If I did a bad job for somebody and they went back to the state, they could talk about pulling my license. I would have to make sure. If I do something wrong in Illinois, I'm as nervous as I am to make sure that the customer is happy, I'm worried that it's going to get back to the state and they're going to pull my license. Just like in the mortgage industry. In the mortgage industry, all the loan officers have to be licensed, not to mention the companies. In our industry, somebody has a truck, they're a roofer. It's ludicrous. Anyway, off my soapbox now. Back to positivity.
Yeah, well, and those are things. But you're talking about a thing on the other. It does have that positive effect. Say that make sure that the consumer.
That's
is
exactly
protected.
right. 100%.
So-
I mean, it'd be good for everybody. I don't know what the negative is. If you're a roofing company out there that's against this, why would you be against this? I mean, I know everybody doesn't want to pay for insurance and pay for licensure and blah blah blah, but it's protecting all of us against the people who are doing bad out there, and everybody knows a bad contractor.
Yeah, that's for sure. Tell me the process. By now, I've got a lot of people that are looking at this video going, I can trust the Cowboy, I can trust Mark. How does somebody hire you? What's the process?
I mean, the number one thing is, quite honestly, I'd like people to call my cell phone is the best number.
Well, yeah,
I know that's crazy.
We put the cell number up on the...
314-338-1861. Call, text me, tell me what you need done, and we will get on it right away.
And if you do want to get more information from the website, we do have that up here on the wall, everybody. And we're going to take some...
We're going to make it better, though.
It's
a little embarrassing now.
We've got here, and we're going to add a little bit to it. But
Yeah.
and I saw where you do have a form that you
Yeah.
fill out right here, so if somebody wants to submit that.
You do a better job of marketing me than I do.
Well, then... but you,
Thank you
exist.
again, Carter.
And the key to this is you've also been in business for a while. You've had a website for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of businesses these days, you look around and they don't have websites. That's one of the first things I hit them up. I'm like, hey, guys, let me help you with the website.
Yes, I need help.
Something that'll keep you on there. But you got that going, and we'll keep it going for you.
Kind of.
What's the biggest question? What's the biggest objection somebody has when they're saying, all right, Mark, I think I want to do this, but I have a question. What do you say the biggest question people have is?
That's a good question. I mean, basically what it comes down to is, can you do the work for what insurance is paying?
Right.
And if you can't, are you willing to go back to the insurance and supplement them for, maybe things that we think should have been paid for? And again, I'm going to go back to this. Insurance companies are super fair. So if we find something and we say, hey, this should have been covered, they might not pay for your gutters, and we'll look at the gutters and say, yeah, I see some dings on them. If we can show them, send them pictures. We found a elevation of siding that had a couple of cracks in it that were caused by hail. When I say, nothing's 100%, but insurance companies generally, well into the 90s, are going to approve that supplement, as long as we're not stupid and asking for crazy things. But yeah, that would be the one thing. I think people are so nervous that they make a claim and then they're thinking, well, what if I can't get everything done, or if I have a huge deductible, hopefully we can work with some of that. But they want to know at the end of the day, how much is the worst case scenario this is going to cost me out of pocket? And, and I think we try to make that objection as easy as possible. And there's no funny business at the end. I don't come at the end and go, well, sorry, you thought you were going to pay your deductible and now you're paying 4 times that because there was a lot of little things that will never happen with M&M. Guarantee you, ever.
Well, these are the keys to a successful business that take care of the people in the community. And there's so many people that we want to spread the word for because, hey, Mark deserves to have some great stuff said about him because he's a good guy and somebody that does a lot of good stuff in our community. And we appreciate you taking time to come up here, check out the studio, hang out with us.
It's the best, by the way.
And we're gonna talk some more baseball. We're gonna see you at the Cardinals game. And boy, look at that big trade today. Hey, check that one out. We won't dock our time by saying what it was. But Cardinals are gonna come back anyway.
Soon.
We'll see you. And we'll see you at Busch Stadium at the Cardinals game.
Thank you, Carter.
All right. Thanks, Mark. Giddy up.